Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the Madhouse. You're listening to Sports Madness here on the Sports Madness Network from our studios here in San Antonio, Texas. I'm David Vaughn, your host. This is episode 2 of Sports Madness. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to cover the NFL wildcard round, minus the one game that hasn't happened yet. We're going to talk about the college football semifinal. We've got some breaking NFL news as well. And so we're going to go ahead and just jump right into all of it. We're going to start out, first of all, with the NFL wildcard round. There are 5 games that have already been played this weekend. There will be one this evening. And for the most part, the games went kind of as we predicted they would, or at least as I predicted they would, because, well, as we know, I'm a sports savant and I just know things about things. Yeah, we'll go with that. But yeah, so we'll start out in the AFC, where the Houston Texans just kind of blew out the LA Chargers 32-12. We talked about that one in advance. I figured that was what was going to happen. Chargers started out good. They got a couple of field goals. Their problem was they just couldn't convert into touchdowns. They got a couple of field goals in the early going. And then Houston's defense really took over, forcing 4 Justin Herbert interceptions, a career high for him. The Texans came in and they told us what their game plan was going to be, and that game plan was going to be to turn the Chargers over. They did that. They did it with impunity, and they just really took advantage from the second quarter on. It was 6-0 Chargers after the first, and then after that, the Texans ran off 32 straight points. No, correction, they ran off 20, it was like 20, I think it was 25, 23 straight points. And then the Chargers scored, but then the Texans blocked the extra point and returned it for 2 points of their own. And it got us where we are with the final of 32-12. Houston winning comfortably at home. And again, we talked about it, kind of one of those situations where, the Chargers had other things on their mind than football. And so I think you kind of have to give them a little bit of a pass. I know, goodness knows, if it were my situation and my family were back home and it was a life-threatening situation, possibility or even probability, depending on exactly where geographically they are, of losing their possessions. Some of them may already have lost their homes or had friends that lost their homes. It's just one of those things where you just, yeah. You have to remember that it's just a football game for them. And so the Chargers season is over. They end the season at 11-7 on the year. Houston improves to 11-7 on the year, and they will now have the honor and privilege of going to the house that Taylor Swift built and playing the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. Baltimore versus Pittsburgh. Baltimore controlled this game pretty much from the start. There was kind of a spot in the third quarter where you looked at the Steelers, and they really did kind of look like they were getting a little bit of traction, but Baltimore's defense just kind of stepped up in a big way. The Ravens did what the Ravens do, and I mean they controlled everything. Baltimore jumped out to a 21-0 lead right before halftime. Pittsburgh did score early in the third, and they scored at the end of the third quarter as well, but it wasn't really one of those games where it was ever really in doubt. For Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson did have a good game. He had 20 of 29, 270 yards, a pair of touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, 16 of 21, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did what he did. Derrick Henry, my goodness. Every time you kind of start to write Derrick Henry off, he comes right back and just like punches you in the mouth and reminds you who he is and why he is revered as well as he is. 26 carries, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, just absolutely dominating performance from Derrick Henry, and really a game that isn't as close as the score indicated, 28-14. The game, in my opinion, really wasn't ever in doubt. Like I said, Steelers did show some life in the third quarter, but it was too little, too late. Uh, and then you have you've got Baltimore versus Denver, and that game went exactly as you expected to go. Now, now Denver came out, and you thought, oh boy, they're gonna pull the surprise here because they had that really nice touchdown play to kick the scoring off. 7-0 Denver, and then Buffalo said, yeah, we're done with this. But I tell you what, the Denver Broncos have a quarterback. Bo Nix is the real deal, and he's a tremendous quarterback. He's going to be very good for them if he can keep from backing off, and if he can stay healthy. He's going to be their guy for a long, long time. Denver got it right on the quarterback pick, and you look at the stats. Bo Nix, 13 of 22, 144 yards. He was running the entire time. Like, he just didn't have a chance to get set. Josh Allen, 20 of 26, 272 yards, a pair of touchdowns for him as well. Buffalo's game plan worked unbelievably well. You looked at Buffalo for probably the first two and a half quarters. I don't know that they did, and I'm sure they did, but I don't know that they had a single play that went over 10 yards. They were just like, here, you're going to give us 6 yards. We're going to take 6 yards every time, play after play after play after play after play, just methodically up and down the field. And they were able to get the job done. It was 10-7 at half. There was, of course, the really, really loud missed field goal that was, I'm pretty sure that thing is still echoing in the stadium. It was a very loud miss. But yeah, Buffalo they started out methodical. They're just like, here, we're gonna take what you give us, and they just kind of nickel and dimed you until they forced Denver to kind of come up closer to the line, and then it was just target practice, and Allen's just like lobbing it over the top of him. You could see when it happened, like partway through the third quarter. They had the 24-yard touchdown pass to Ty Johnson, and then the 55-yard touchdown pass to Curtis Samuel, and it just it was over at that point. And so that got us where we were with our final Buffalo 31, Denver 7. Bills advance to the next round where they will take on Baltimore. Then you had the Eagles and the Packers. That game, again, the game kind of went about as expected, 22-10. Philadelphia defeats Green Bay. Philadelphia was just in control. They were just kind of in control of the game. It was what you would expect from a Philadelphia Eagles game, specifically a Philadelphia Eagles victory. They just controlled the tempo. They controlled everything about the game. And nothing that's just going to blow you away on the passing side. Saquon Barkley, 119 yards rushing. Jacobs for Green Bay had 81 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Love, 20 of 33, 212 yards, but 3 costly interceptions. Jalen Hurts, 13 of 21, 131 yards. Again, he's not going to, just kill you with his arm. Pair of touchdowns. Philadelphia they do what they do, and they do it very well, and they've done it very well all season. Philly improves to 15-3 now on the year. Green Bay's season ends at 11-7. And in my opinion, the upset of the day, you had Washington that went down to Tampa and defeated the Buccaneers 23-20 on a field goal at the buzzer, as they were, they made sure that we knew this throughout the broadcast, but it, warranted. Their 6th string kicker, Washington's 6th string kicker, Zane Gonzalez, hits the 37-yarder to win the game. Gonzalez had a good game, for Washington. And yeah, for someone that had never had, any playoff experience, he did just fine. Jalen Daniels, 24-35, 268 yards, a pair of touchdowns. Baker Mayfield, disappointing passing numbers. He did all right for the game. He managed it okay, but yeah, 15 of 18. 3 incomplete passes the entire game. 185 yards, 2 touchdowns. McLaurin, 7 receptions, 89 yards and a touchdown. Mike Evans, 7 receptions, 92 yards and a touchdown for Tampa Bay. Washington just kind of held in there, and they never went away. Tampa couldn't ever get any separation in the entire game. Neither team led this game by more than 7 points at any point. Largest lead of the game was Washington at 10-3 halfway through the second quarter, or rather, kind of toward the end of the second quarter. But yeah, that was an evenly matched game. I expected the Tampa was going to come out on top of that one. They did not. But congratulations to Washington. They advanced now to the divisional round of the playoffs. So the lineup that we have now for next week, on Saturday at 3:30 Central Time, you'll have Houston at Kansas City. You'll at 7 o'clock on Saturday, you'll have Washington at Detroit on the NFC side, which promises to be a good game. And then on the other NFC matchup, you will have the winner between the Vikings and the Rams tonight, and they will be at Philadelphia. And then you have Baltimore at Buffalo. And those games are going to be on Sunday at 2 o'clock and 5:30 Central Time, respectively. I think it's going to be an interesting round. I'm excited for it. I think all these games are going to be close. I think the one that I kind of and have circled that could potentially be a blowout is Kansas City and Houston. But you got to remember, Kansas City hasn't played a game in 3 weeks, and so how that's going to play into things as well is going to matter. But we're going to talk about that later on this week. Once again, a reminder that this evening, a game that got moved to, it was originally set for Saturday. It got moved to Monday, and then it got moved to Arizona. Will be the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Rams. That game was supposed to be played in Los Angeles. It was not going to happen. They're still fighting those fires, and my goodness, prayers to the firefighters, the residents, that whole area. It's awful, and just it seems with every forecast, it just gets worse and worse and worse as the news. And so it's like, well, we got to just hope that they're able to get some kind of control on those things, because it's going quick. So Vikings and Rams this evening. That game will be on ESPN and ABC, 7 o'clock Central Time. Now moving over to the college football playoff. I've got my notes over here, and I failed to get those pulled up. A couple of pretty good games. The Orange Bowl, we talked about it. Notre Dame ended up defeating Penn State 27-24. Notre Dame advances to the national championship game a week from today, Monday the 20th. Notre Dame with the big fourth quarter, 17 points in the fourth quarter. The game was kind of the opposite of what I expected. I thought it was going to be kind of a higher scoring game, and that Penn State would come out on top. It ended up being kind of a low scoring game, more along the lines of what you would expect from a Big Ten Big Ten matchup. And then the fourth quarter, like the doors just got blown off, and both offenses decided to show up in a big way. And you could tell it was one of those games where like both teams really wanted it, and it was just a matter of who was able to close it out. And it was, Notre Dame was able to get the job done. They won 27-24. Micah Jeter with the 41-yard field goal with 7 seconds left to finish the game. On the quarterback side, Leonard for Notre Dame, 15 of 23, 223 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Alar for Penn State, 12 of 23, 135 yards, 1 interception. Not a great game for him. Love had 45 yards and a touchdown on 11 carries on the ground. Singleton for Penn State, 15 carries, 84 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tremendous game for him. And then receiving, you had Greathouse, 7 receptions, 105 yards and a touchdown. And then Warren for Penn State, 6 catches, 475 yards. We did know that it was going to be a close game, and it was a close game. 27-24. Again, just great. It was a great game. I don't think that this one was kind of on the level. I don't think it was quite on the level of Texas versus Arizona State as far as like entertainment value, but it was definitely up there. I would have it definitely top 3 bowl games of the season to be sure. And second, right behind the Texas-Arizona State game as far as games so far in the playoff. In the other playoff matchup, this one kind of went exactly how we thought it would. Ohio State defeated Texas 28-14. It was close until it wasn't. Knotted up at 14, and then about halfway through the fourth quarter, Ohio State just decided, we're going to put this game away. We're going to do it right now. 28-14, the final. Howard for Ohio State. Will Howard, 24 of 33, 289 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Quinn Ewers, 23 of 39, 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and the costly fumble at the end of the game. Henderson for Ohio State, 6 carries, 42 yards. Wisner for Texas, 17 carries, 46 yards. Neither team had much of an effective running game at all. Tate, 7 receptions, 87 yards for Ohio State. Blue, 5 receptions for 59 yards and 2 touchdowns for Texas. Jaden Blue he's a great receiver. You remember from last year? He was good last year. So Texas season comes to an end. Ohio State moves to the national championship game where they will play Notre Dame next week. So the national championship is set. They were talking about, so the game is on Monday the 20th, and that, of course, is Inauguration Day. And Vice President-elect J.D. Vance was talking about it, and he said that he was going to skip the inaugural balls, and he was going to go to the national championship game. I'm pretty sure he's not going to do that, but I thought it was kind of funny anyway. We have some tennis to talk about. The Australian Open is going on right now. Trying to pull up the most recent results because I have the bracket here. Still in the early rounds of this one. Americans actually having a pretty solid showing in the first round. A big upset on the American front. Alex Mickelson upset number 11 seeded Stefanos Tsitsipas in 4 sets, 7-5, 6-3, 2-6, and 6-4. So he advances to the second round. Sebastian Korda, number 22 seed, won his first round match in 4 rounds, 6-3, love 6, 6-3, and 7-6 with the 8-6 tiebreaker. Looking on down a little bit more. American Riley Opelka beat Gother Onklin in 4 sets, 3-6, 7-6, 6-3, and 6-2. And 17 seed Francis Tiafoe won his first round match against Arthur Rinderknecht in 5 sets. 7-6, 6-3, 4-6, 6-7, and 6-3. So the American on the men's side swept their first round. Of course, top seed Yannick Sinner won in straight sets. Number 2 seed Alexander Zverev also won in straight sets, 6-4 across the board. 15th seed Jack Draper won in 4 sets against the Argentinian Mariano Navon, 4-6, 6-3, 3-6, 6-3, 6-2. Number 24 seed Yuri Lecheka won against Lee 2 of Australia, 6-1, 3-6, 6-3, and 7-6. Australian Jordan Thompson won 7-6, 6-4, 4-6, 6-3. Canadian number 29 seed, whoops, I just shut out my page. Felix Auger Alasime won his first round match against Jan-Lennard Struff of Germany in 4 sets, 6-3, 6-love, 4-6, and 6-1. Looking at other seeded matchups. Number 14, Ugo Humbert of France won 7-6, 7-5, and 6-4. There was an upset. Alejandro Tabillo of Chile lost to Roberto Carballo Baena of Spain in 4 sets. 1-6, 6-2, 6-3, 7-6. Tomasz Maszak won over Sumit Nagal in straight sets. 28 seed Sebastian Baez lost to Arthur Cruzeau of France in 5 sets, 6-3, 5-7, 3-6, 6-love, and 6-3. Looking at other matchups, these are all on the men's side. Let me see. Casper Ruud, the 6th seed from Norway, won in 5 sets over Jaime Munar, 6-3, 1-6, 7-5, 2-6, 6-1. And Artur Fee of France won over Finland's Otto Virtanen in 4 sets, 3-6, 7-6, 6-4, and 6-4. On the women's side, we'll start with the Americans first. Bernarda Pera lost to Tatiana Maria of Germany in straight sets, 7-6 and 6-4. American Sloane Stephens lost in the first round to number 1 seed Ariana Sabalenka, 6-3, 6-2. American Coco Gauff, the 3 seed, defeated American Sophia Kenin 6-3, 6-3. American Haley Baptiste lost to German Laura Siegemund in 3 sets, 4-6, 7-5, and 6-4. American Katie Volinitz lost to Rebecca Stramkova in 3 sets, 3-6, 6-2, 6-2. American Aisling Kruger lost to Australian Isla Tomjanovic, 6-4, 4-6, 6-4. American Caroline Dolehide defeated Sarah Balick in straight sets, 7-6 and 6-2. American Jessica Pegula won in straight sets over Australian Maya Joint, 6-3 and 6-love. Of the remaining seeded players, Diana Schneider of the Netherlands defeated Elisabetta Cocciaretto in straight sets, 7-6 and 6-4. Number 17 seed Marta Kostyuk of Ukraine defeated Nauhi Bino in 3 sets, 3-6, 6-3, 6-1. Poland's Magdalena Frech defeated Polina Kudermetova of Russia, 6-4, 6-4. Russia's Anastasia Pavlyuchenko defeated Yuan Yue of China 6-4, 4-6, 6-3. Ukraine's Elena Svitolina defeated Sorana Sirestia of Romania 6-4, 6-4. Russian number 25 Lyudmila Samsonova defeated Kamila Rakhmonova 6-2, 6-4. Number 21 Victoria Azarenka of Portugal lost in the first round 2-6, 6-7 to Lucia Bronzetti. Let's see. Where I lost my spot. Number 16 ranked Yelena Ostapenko, probably the biggest upset on the women's side in the first round. Number 16 seed Yelena Ostapenko lost from Latvia, lost to the Swiss player Belinda Bencic 6-3 and 7-6, so she's out in straight sets in the first round after being a pretty heavy favorite. And then number 2, Iga Swiatek of Poland defeated Katarina Siniakova in straight sets 6-3 and 6-4. A lot of good matchups today. On the women's side, you have Beatriz Haddad Maya taking on Julia Riera. You've got Daria Kostakina taking on Victoria Tomova. Ekaterina Alexandrova taking on Emma Raducanu. You've got Diana Yastremska taking on Maya Sharif. American Eva Jovic is taking on Nuria Parisas Diaz. American Catherine McNally takes on Varvara Gracheva. Okay, we have, there's actually some more results that have come in. So on the women's side, number 10 seed American Danielle Collins defeated Daria Snigur of Ukraine in straight sets, 7-6, 6-3. And then Karolina Muchova of the Czech Republic defeated Nadia Podoroska 6-1 and 6-1. On the men's side, we have more results here. On the men's side, number 3, Carlos Alcaraz of Spain won in straight sets over Alexander Shevchenko 6-1, 7-5, 6-1. Novak Djokovic defeated American Nishes Basvaredi in 4 sets, 4-6, 6-3, 6-4, 6-2. Number 10, Grigor Dimitrov is out in the first round, retiring due to injury. 7-5 and 2-1. So a fairly big upset there on the men's side with Grigor Dimitrov retiring early in the second round, or second set rather. Number 12 seed American Tommy Paul defeated Australian Christopher O'Connell in 5 sets, a tremendous match. 6-2, 3-6, 6-1, 6-7, and 7-5. Australian Nick Kyrgios falling in the first round in straight sets to Britain's Jacob Fernley, 7-6, 6-3, and 7-6. And many believe that that's going to be the swan song for Nick Kyrgios, that's going to be it for him. It's just Big Red, nothing nefarious. Got to hydrate a little bit. But there's a lot of good tennis still to be played just in the first round. We will keep an eye on these. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. We're going to come to you tomorrow with more Australian Open. We're going to talk some NBA. We're going to talk some NHL. We're going to talk the final game of the NFL wild card round. And we will come up. I forgot. We have some breaking news in the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys have parted ways with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is no longer the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and so that search has now begun. There's some speculation that the Cowboys may try and go after the University of Colorado head coach Deion Sanders. Of course, other names are kind of being thrown in the ring as well. Some talk that Kellen Moore may come back to Dallas as head coach. We're really, really early in the process, so it's way too early to speculate on that. But you know the Cowboys, and they're going to want to move here fairly quickly. And so we're gonna keep a close eye on that. We'll see what develops there. And now that the first domino has fallen, I would imagine that other dominoes will begin to fall as well. But we will, like I said, we'll be back tomorrow with more sports madness. Like I said, we'll talk about the final game of the NFL wildcard round. We'll talk about the upcoming games. We'll talk more Australian Open. We'll talk NBA. We'll talk NHL. There's some baseball news coming out as well, and we're going to talk about some of the maybe non-traditional sports that we're hoping to cover on here as well. We're going to be talking a little bit of Drum Corps International. We're going to talk some of that. We're going to be talking cricket. We'll talk Australian rules football here coming up in the next few days as well. So we've got a lot going on, a lot of things that we're going to want to cover here in the Madhouse. Thank you all so much for joining us for today's episode. Until next time, this is David Vaughn reminding you that there are good ships, wood ships, and ships that sail the seas, but the best ships are friendships. May they always be. Until next time, take care and God bless.